Good evening, I'm Paula Todd. Welcome to The Verdict. We've all seen them at the hockey rink, on the baseball diamond, and at the soccer pitch. Over-aggressive parents pushing their children to succeed. But we've rarely seen anything like this. This is video of a father pushing his daughter around after a swimming meet in Melbourne, Australia. He's also her coach, and because of this video, he's been kicked off the team and slapped with a restraining order forbidding him to come near his daughter until they leave Australia. What is it about parents, children, and sport that takes some people to the edge of violence and beyond? Jim Taylor is a sports psychologist. He's been a consultant for the United States and Japanese ski teams and has extensive experience working with professional and Olympic athletes. He joins us from Orlando, Florida. Paul Calarco is a criminal lawyer, and he's with me here in studio. Let's go to Orlando first. Jim, what did you think when you heard about this incident today?
Well, I was appalled, of course, because it's the worst kind of parental behavior. But I can tell you that, though it's at the extreme end of the continuum, I see this kind of behavior at tennis tournaments, at golf tournaments, at other sporting events on a regular basis, to varying degrees of severity.
So explain to us what is going on in that dynamic that leads to this sort of violence.
Well, it's a parent who's clearly completely overly invested in his child's success, to the extent that the child's success dictates how this father feels about himself. And it's very common in our culture where parents, because they don't have enough going on in their own lives, they become overly invested, so their self-esteem is dependent upon their kid's success.
It's just so sad watching that young woman trying to get away from her father there. What is the likely effect on her and her self-esteem?
Well, it's going to hurt her tremendously, because one of the most powerful things parents give to their kids is love. And for parents like this involved in their sports so much, they're giving them conditional love. And I've seen parents who, when their kids succeed, lavish them with loves and material gifts. And when they fail to live up to their parents' expectations, they either withdraw and become very cold and distant, or express tremendous anger and sometimes physical abuse on their children.
Let me bring Jim Taylor back in. You've heard Jim, and I wanted to paint the picture for you of how the criminal law is likely to handle this. What do you think about the possibility that, this guy could say it's a sporting event, it was very competitive. Do you think that that should be a mitigating factor, or do you in fact think that he owes a higher standard to this woman?
Well, I think he does hold a higher standard, because I can't speak to the legal aspects of it, but certainly in terms of a relationship with his daughter, this is a very painful experience. And my guess is that this wasn't a one-time experience. And whether he's going to be charged legally, I can't speak to it, but certainly the national governing body needs to take action and protect the child, because this was clearly abusive behavior, and further involvement of the coach and parent in this role could be hurtful not only to that particular athlete, his daughter, but also to other athletes if he is that volatile.
It's interesting because you're a sports psychologist, and we think about the competitiveness of that industry, the rough and tumble of it. You win for being strong and for enduring. Do you think, in fact, we need to change the way we think about people in sport?
Well, I think to some degree. My book, Your Children Under Attack, focuses on the role of popular culture with kids. And certainly this father needs to be held to the highest standard of behavior. But I think that blame goes around very widely, including popular culture. Because the fact is there is such an emphasis on winning in popular culture. And parents become deluded in a way. They become seduced by popular culture into believing that their child can become an Olympic professional athlete, despite the fact there's about a 6 in 1 million chance of a young athlete becoming a professional or Olympic athlete. And yet parents see this because of the fame and the money and the glory, and they say, I'm going to get my kid into that. And that becomes the parent's life, not the kid's life.
Thank you so much, Jim Taylor in Orlando, Florida.